Well, hello there. Thanks for playing World of Tanks, and thanks for taking a look at this World of Tanks video. Got a very simple match here. Certainly no impressive numbers, probably not any amazing gameplay in terms of the actual fighting, at least. Do want to talk about anyway, the approach that I took to playing this match, ultimately, and the way in which that's valuable, even if I didn't do an impressive amount of damage, and I didn't even get like the third class mastery badge, I think is how you'd say that. I didn't even get that third class there, so it's really kind of some simple gameplay. Pretty straightforward. Nevertheless, I am suggesting that the play that I bring to the match is actually nevertheless pretty relevant and pretty important to the outcome of the match. And so I think that Fjords is kind of a difficult map to play. It's pretty difficult to know where to go, and even though it's it's not exactly in what we would consider like an urban setting or even much of a village, although you can get yourself into some buildings. Very little fighting on this map usually takes place among the buildings. And even though, again, there are kind of some open spaces, kind of some open fields, by and large, just because of the nature of the terrain, a lot of the fighting, a lot of the contact with the enemy vehicles actually usually takes place at pretty close ranges. There's kind of like the curves in the fields and different other terrain features like that kind of prevent most, certainly not all, but most long-range shots or whatever. You can kind of get some medium-range shots here. That's kind of what I would call this right here, kind of a medium-range engagement. Anyway, I was out in the middle of the field. I think that's, generally speaking, kind of one of the more relevant portions of this map, and I would suggest one of the more relevant portions of any map. And wasn't exactly having a good time of it out there. You can see they definitely overwhelmed that position of the map. Definitely had the numbers and definitely had the more success in that right there. Definitely had more success in that area of engagement. So, and I was aware that they had a few vehicles that were going into that northeast corner and coming around kind of, I guess, behind us in a way, behind a lot of our guys, and certainly towards our capture point, our spawn position, and of course the eventually that ally artillery down there. And so I, exactly like I said, I wasn't having a whole lot of success out in the center part of the map. They had some, like a light tank and like a tier 7 medium out there just kind of out spotting me and shooting me from ranges and things. And so I fell back here where I thought like I could at least be a threat. And that's more or less what I'm doing. I think I got one pretty good looking shot in there. I mean, I've hit some tanks, but nothing's really penetrating for me. I got that one good shot on that heavy and damaged the ammo rack. Otherwise, I'm just kind of here. We had that heavy in there. I think it was a dreadnought. But just kind of trying to support that heavy and also here kind of play side by side with this destroyer. And here I'm giving that destroyer the kind of the bulk of the protection from that building, which I would suggest needs more than I do, and giving myself kind of some distance, kind of shooting the enemies as they maybe come around the corner of that building, at least trying to get myself in the position. And here we're going to see I try to auto lock, and on the guy that I had my reticle basically on, the 53 TP, and the coating, whatever it was there, something about the how the game works. When I clicked the auto aim or auto lock button, swung my turret and gun back toward this VK-45. I don't understand how that worked, but that's what happened. And as we can see, our we had a lot of success over basically in the far west of the map. Did probably good enough in the middle, and yeah, you may have to go back and watch, but it seems like we had some guys do good enough in the middle, and then the survivors that they had in the fight in the middle went back to defend their base, which is probably a smart move. We probably could have captured out on them if they didn't. And so the guys that we had more or less surviving in the middle, it looks like ended up coming back toward the east, toward our kind of spawn area, and worked out really well. I think that, even though I was over there in that the east, not exactly dealing a whole bunch of damage, I was certainly a relevant presence, a potentially very dangerous presence anyway, and a presence that I think that those enemy players over there in the east really had to think about and really had to take into consideration. I didn't exactly deal a whole lot of damage. I did get a lot of hits. I had a lot of my shots hitting those vehicles, and at least some of those certainly could have been penetrations if I had maybe aimed just a little bit differently, or if the random numbers had gone just a little bit differently. I could have dealt quite a bit more damage than I did over there, and so I was definitely a threat worth considering. Here at this point, kind of trying to navigate the situation. Eventually I get myself into a position where I don't think they're going to be able to hit me on the move, and I have some, these buildings and things and some rising terrain that I'm able to kind of use for cover as I shift my position, kind of crossing their line of fire in a way. Basically putting myself in a potential position to flank them, and also creating an opportunity for my teammates to kind of be a little bit more aggressive, given the fact that I was in kind of a flanking position there. Alright, so again, I didn't exactly do a whole lot in terms of damage. Wasn't exactly productive in that regard. You can see this end screen or whatever it is didn't exactly have a lot to show. Nevertheless, I, even through some relatively simple play, was able to do quite a bit to put myself in important positions and help my team win. Thanks for playing World of Tanks. Thanks for checking out this World of Tanks video.